when she called us useless, so we proved her wrong. I've been in IT for nearly 30 years. I started back when the internet meant waiting 5 minutes for a single web page to load, and a fax machine was still considered cutting edge. I've survived dot-com booms and busts, Y2K panic, and more printer jams than I care to remember. These days, I'm the senior systems administrator for a business process outsourcing company in Managua, Nicaragua. For those unfamiliar, Nicaragua has become a growing hub for call centers. The workforce is young, bilingual, and costs significantly less than equivalent staff in the States. Our office is a nice modern building in the middle of a chaotic, humid city. The air conditioning alone makes it worth showing up every morning. I run a team of 12. Half are experienced expats like me who settled here for the lower cost of living. The other half are sharp, talented local guys who can take apart a network problem the way a good mechanic reads an engine. Together, we keep the whole operation running. The pressure in this business is constant. Margins are thin, and someone is always looking to cut costs. That's how Karen entered the picture. Karen wasn't her real name, but you'd understand the choice immediately if you met her. She was the vice president of customer service operations, transferred down from a branch in the States about 6 months before everything went sideways. Early 30s, fast-talking, the kind of person who climbed the ladder by stepping on other people's hands. She had an MBA that she apparently believed covered computer science, engineering, and common sense all in one package. Her defining trait, the thing that made every interaction with her exhausting, was her contempt for anyone over 40. She looked at me and saw a liability, a relic, a budget line that needed trimming. It started with little jabs. I'd be in the break room pouring my morning coffee, black, no sugar, same as always, and she'd breeze in without looking up from her phone. Still drinking that stuff? At your age, with your heart, you really should switch to herbal tea. My heart is fine, Karen. It's my patience that's failing. She'd laugh like it was the funniest thing she'd heard. You're so old school. It's like having a museum exhibit running the server room. I let most of it roll off. I had work to do. But Karen wasn't just annoying, she was genuinely dangerous. In her mind, every security protocol, every firewall rule, every password requirement was just old men trying to control her dynamic team. What she didn't grasp, or didn't care about, was that her customer service staff handled real people's sensitive data. Credit card numbers, home addresses, social security numbers. We weren't locking things down because we enjoyed it. We were contractual and legally required to. Karen cared about call metrics, handle times, resolution rates. She did not care about compliance. The confrontation happened at the Q3 budget review. Conference room, the AC cranked up against the tropical heat outside, the company's country director Bobby at the head of the table, a decent man, but not someone who liked conflict. I was there with my second in command, a local named Mateo, who is brilliant and hates confrontation. Karen showed up flanked by 2 of her supervisors who nodded enthusiastically at everything she said. She had a PowerPoint ready. Lots of buzzwords, synergy dash, agility dash, frictionless workflows dash. Then she got to the point. The IT department, she said, looking directly at me, is costing us a fortune. And what are we getting for it? Delays. Endless ticket queues. My team can't install the tools they need without asking permission for every little thing. These people are treating grown adults like children. I leaned forward. Karen, your team doesn't have admin rights because they've tried to install pirated software on company hardware. We lock things down to prevent malware. She threw her hands up. There it is. Fear-mongering. An outdated mindset. My team grew up with technology, Bobby. They know how to use a computer better than the people supposedly fixing them. Then she delivered what she thought was the killing blow. I'm proposing we cut the IT department by 50%, specifically the senior staff. We can keep a few of the junior guys for basic hardware. But the administration? We don't need it. We are paying these people huge salaries to be useless code monkeys who just say no to everything. The room went quiet. Bobby looked uncomfortable. OP has been here a long time, Karen. Bobby, look at the numbers. I can save this company $20,000 a month in salaries alone. My team's efficiency will skyrocket once we remove the IT restrictions. We are being held back. I could feel the anger rising, but I pushed it down. I looked at Matteo. He was staring at the table, pen in a death grip. Then I spoke. Let me make sure I understand what you're proposing, I said, very calmly. You want to fire half my team, give your customer service representatives full administrative access to their machines, and remove the web filters and download restrictions. I want my team treated like adults, Karen said. And yes, I want to stop paying redundant salaries for people who just sit in an air-conditioned room making up rules. Bobby looked at me. OP, what do you think? Can we run leaner? Karen was gloating. She thought she'd just maneuvered the old man out the door. That's when the idea came to me. Bobby, I said. I think Karen actually makes a compelling point. Karen blinked. She hadn't expected that. I walked to the whiteboard. Here's my counter-proposal. We don't fire anyone yet. That triggers severance packages and labor board reviews, and Nicaragua's labor code is not something you want to wrestle with. Article 45 is expensive. Ask anyone. Bobby nodded. He'd dealt with the Ministry of Labor before. He hated it. Instead, I continued, we do a 2-week trial run. Starting Monday, the IT department steps back entirely. We grant Karen's supervisors full administrative rights. We lift the web filters on the customer service network. We stop proactive monitoring of their workstations and become invisible, just like Karen wants. We only respond to catastrophic hardware failure, like a server literally catching fire. Everything else, software installs, printer setup, password resets, Karen's team handles it. I looked at Karen. You said your team can handle it, right? You said we are useless. We can absolutely handle it, she said, though her eyes narrowed slightly. Her ego was too large to let her back down. It'll be the most productive 2 weeks this company has ever seen. Great, I said. If after 2 weeks everything is running smoothly and efficiency is up, I will voluntarily resign and you can cut the department however you see fit. But if something goes wrong, that's on you, Karen. Deal, she said. She looked genuinely excited. She thought she'd just bluffed me into early retirement. As we filed out, she leaned close. Start polishing that resume, Pops. Maybe you can find work fixing typewriters. I just smiled. Be careful what you wish for, Karen. Back in the server room, I gathered my team. They were rattled. Rumors travel fast in a call center building. Are we getting fired, boss? Matteo asked. No, I said. We are going on a working vacation. Here's the plan. I explained everything. They were hesitant. These were good technicians. It went against their nature to let systems deteriorate. But when I told them what Karen had called them, the mood shifted instantly. She called us what? Carlos, one of my network engineers, asked. Useless code monkeys. Dead silence. Then, I reset her assistant's password 3 times yesterday because she kept forgetting it. Exactly, I said. So starting Monday, we stop. We spent the weekend setting the stage, and I want to be clear about this. We didn't break a single thing. We didn't tamper with anything. We simply removed the safety rails. We created a separate policy for Karen's department. We removed the software installation restrictions. We turned off the forced Windows updates she'd always complained about. We disabled the web filter that blocks social media, streaming sites, and everything else. Then we isolated their network from the rest of the company, finance, HR, the main servers, so that if anything went wrong, it stayed contained. We called it a hostile network. Because that's effectively what it was. Monday morning, I sat in my office watching the network traffic dashboard. Within 2 hours, bandwidth usage spiked dramatically. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, streaming services. It looked like a college dorm network, not a business processing sensitive financial data. The first support ticket came in, printer not working. I replied, per the agreement with VP of Customer Service, desktop support is now handled by CS Operations. Please refer to your supervisor. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. One of Karen's supervisors. Hey, OP, The printer's not showing up. Dash, I know, I said pleasantly. Dash, remember the meeting? You have admin rights now. You can add the printer manually using its IP address. You don't need me anymore. Good luck. I hung up. By Wednesday, the call center floor was loose and cheerful, music playing, people sneaking streaming videos between calls. Karen walked past my glass-walled office and gave me a smug thumbs up. She looked like she'd won. She did not know that 3 of her digital natives had already downloaded a pirated video game that was silently running cryptomining software in the background, overheating their computers. I could see it on the dashboard. I logged it carefully and said nothing. By the second week, the cracks were showing. Without regular restarts and maintenance, machines were slowing to a crawl. Nobody was clearing temporary files. People had loaded their desktops with third-party widgets eating up memory. The staff had stopped filing IT tickets. They knew we weren't coming, so they started doing their own improvised tech support, bringing in personal laptops and connecting them to the company Wi-Fi. We logged every device. On Wednesday of week 2, Karen stormed into my office. She looked like she hadn't been sleeping well. Dash, the internet is slow. Fix it. Dash, our systems look fine, I said. Dash, finance is fine. HR is fine. The main servers are green. But I do notice your department is pulling about 4 terabytes of data per day. A significant portion seems to be coming from a site called hdmoviesfree.net. Is that business critical? She went red. Dash, my team needs to decompress between stressful calls. It's part of modern workplace culture. Just allocate more bandwidth to us. Dash, I can't do that without affecting the quality of your actual customer calls, I said. This wasn't entirely true, but I wasn't going to volunteer that information. Dash, you wanted autonomy. You have the bandwidth. Manage it. She muttered useless under her breath and walked out. Friday, the last day of the trial. I was expecting a slow deterioration, machines grinding to a halt, Karen eventually coming in to quietly ask for help. I was not expecting what actually happened. At 2:15 in the afternoon, one of Karen's supervisors, Ricardo, her highest performing metrics driver, received an email. It looked like an invoice from a vendor. The attachment appeared to be a PDF. It was not a PDF. It was an executable file, the kind used to install malware. Under normal circumstances, our mail filter would have caught it. But Karen had demanded we whitelist several external email domains because she said our filter was blocking legitimate client messages. One of those domains was a free webmail service she used for her personal networking contacts. The fraudulent email was spoofed to look like it came from that domain. It slipped right through. Ricardo clicked it. When Windows Defender flagged it as a threat, he clicked allow, because, in his mind, the antivirus was just IT trying to block him from doing his job. What he installed was ransomware. Because we had isolated Karen's network from the rest of the company, the damage didn't reach our servers. But it tore through the customer service floor like a fire through dry brush. 60 machines locked up simultaneously. CPU usage hit 100% across all of them at once. Then the screaming started. I walked out of my office and stood on the mezzanine overlooking the call center floor. People were standing up, ripping off headsets. Dash, my screen is black. All my files are gone. It says I have to pay in Bitcoin. Karen was running through the floor. Dash, just reboot. Reboot them. I sipped my coffee. Black. No sugar. Mateo appeared beside me. Dash, should we go down? Dash, not yet, I said. Dash, let it marinate. Karen spotted me from below and sprinted up the stairs. Her face was white. Dash, OP, do something. Everything is locked. We have customers on the line. Dash, I thought we were useless code monkeys, Karen. Dash, this is not the time for games. Fix it. Dash, I can't just undo ransomware, I said. Dash, your team installed it. They gave it permission. They bypassed the security warning themselves. Dash, I don't care how it happened. Make it work. Dash, okay, I said. Dash, I can wipe the machines and reload them from scratch. That'll take about 4 hours. But any data saved locally is gone. Saved passwords, local files, anything your team kept on their desktops instead of the shared drive. I told you 6 months ago to use the shared drive. She looked like she might be sick. Dash also, I added. Dash the automated backup service that would have saved some of this? You told us to turn it off 3 weeks ago because it was slowing down the computers. Dash, just do it. Wipe them. We stayed late on a Friday night re-imaging 60 computers. We billed every hour of overtime to Karen's department. But the real fallout came Sunday evening. Before locking the machines, the ransomware had scraped the browsers for saved credentials, login information for the customer relationship management system, email accounts, and the client portal. By Sunday night, we got a call from our largest client in the United States. Their security team had detected suspicious activity. Someone was accessing customer accounts from an IP address in Russia and processing fraudulent refunds to untraceable gift cards. They traced the credential leak directly back to Ricardo's machine. Monday morning, the conference room felt different. Bobby looked 10 years older. Karen looked like she hadn't slept since Friday. There were lawyers in the room, not just the company's lawyers, but legal counsel representing the client. Dash, we lost the client, Bobby said quietly. Dash, they terminated the contract, effective immediately. That is 60% of our revenue. Karen pointed at me immediately. Dash, this is its fault. They turned off the security. They let this happen to sabotage me. I didn't raise my voice. I opened a folder I'd brought with me. Dash, Bobby, I have here the meeting minutes from our Q3 review, where Karen explicitly requested, and I'm quoting, autonomy from IT restrictions. I also have the email where I laid out the terms of the trial run, which Karen signed. I slid the paper across the table. Dash, I also have the logs. Here is the record of Ricardo downloading a file called invoiceurgent.exe. Here is the Windows Defender alert blocking it. Here is Ricardo using the administrator credentials, which Karen demanded he have, to override that block and run the file. I pulled out another sheet. Dash, and here is the network traffic log showing that in the week leading up to the infection, Karen's department used 40% of their bandwidth on Netflix, Facebook, and a website I'll just describe as not work-related. Productive week. Karen was sputtering. Dash, you should have stopped us. You're the IT director. It's your job to protect the company even when we tell you not to. Dash, I tried. Karen. For 6 months I tried. You called me a dinosaur. You called my team useless. You said you could handle it. I gave you exactly what you asked for, so you could see for yourself why the rules existed. Bobby looked at Karen for a long moment. When he spoke, the anger was gone. What was left was something colder. Dash, Karen. Pack your things. Dash, you can't fire me. I have a contract. Dash, you violated the acceptable use policy, the gross negligence clause, and you cost us our biggest client. The lawyers are drafting a termination for cause. If you're fortunate, we won't pursue damages. Get out. She left without another word. The aftermath was painful for everyone. Losing that client forced a significant restructuring. The customer service department, now sitting largely idle with no contracts to support, was outsourced to a partner in the Philippines. Most of Karen's staff lost their jobs through no fault of their own. I felt genuinely bad for them. They were ordinary people caught up in their boss's ego. My team, though, Bobby called us in a week later and gave us raises. He'd finally understood what experienced IT professionals actually represent. Not a cost center, but an insurance policy against exactly this kind of catastrophe. We put every security protocol back in place. Web filters on. Admin rights locked down. USB ports disabled. Automated backups running. And the coffee in the break room tasted a little better after that. Black, no sugar, no Karen.